I love going out in the garden and harvesting fresh corn to enjoy inside. There's nothing like just freshly picked, just shucked ear of corn, but there's nothing worse than shucking the corn and finding little corn earworms in there nibbling away. It just makes it a lot less appetizing when you find worms there in the tip. So the critical time to prevent corn earworms from getting into your corn is right as the silks are really starting to form and when the tassels are dropping a lot of pollen. So watch the tassels. When you see a lot of bees in there, you know pollen's dropping out of the corn. So for the last 4 or 5 days I've come out here and there's just been bees like crazy in the tassels of the corn. So you know that's when the pollen's really dropping out of the corn, and that's the critical time to start treating the silks. We're not going to treat up here where the bees are at. We definitely don't want to bother the bees, but there's some insecticides that we can use that are safe and won't bother the bees at all, and then we've got some other ones that we've got to be a little bit more careful with. But what we want to treat is we want to treat the silks on the corn. So you can see back in here the corn's really starting to develop, and the silks, what will happen is there's little moths that will come in and they'll actually land on the silks. They'll lay their eggs right on the silks, and those eggs will hatch out, and then the larvae, the little corn earworms, will crawl down into the corn, following the silks down into the interior of the corn, and then they'll start having a heyday. They'll just enjoy eating that sweet corn just as much as we like to eat the sweet corn. So there's a couple things we can do to prevent that from happening. One, you can spray it with an insecticide like broad spectrum insecticide here from Fertilome. The broad spectrum is a very safe, very effective insecticide you can use on almost all of your vegetables. Safe to use on all kinds of ornamentals as well too, and comes in a ready to use and also in a concentrate. Very, very easy to do. You just turn the trigger sprayer, just set that to spray, and you just spray the tops of the silks. So we've got some silks right here. Just spray the tops of those. If you don't have too much corn, this is a good way to do it. If you've got a pretty good sized patch of corn like I have, I've got 4 75-foot rows. It's going to take me a long time with the trigger sprayer to get in there and spray those, and so I would probably suggest you switch to a larger sprayer, like a pump sprayer like this, and we can use a couple different types of insecticides in a concentrate form in a tank sprayer like this. One of my personal favorites is called spinosad, and the spinosad is an all-natural insecticide. It's a bacteria, in fact, and it only kills caterpillars and the larval stages of a lot of insects. And this is the one product I was talking about, won't bother your bees. So this is an insecticide you can control a lot of different insects that are doing damage in your vegetable garden, whether it's on your tomatoes for tomato hornworms, or cabbage loopers in your cabbage, or Mexican bean beetles on your beans, or corn earworms in your corn. You can use this. You don't have to worry about damaging or affecting beneficial insects like lady beetles or bees or praying mantids, because it only kills the larval stages of the insects. It'll only kill the babies, so it kills the worms and the caterpillars, but it won't affect the adults. So we can mix this up, use it in our tank sprayer, and go ahead and just spray all those silks just like I did with the trigger sprayer. But it's a lot easier to do a big patch of corn when you've got a tank sprayer instead of using a trigger sprayer. The other option you've got, again, if you don't have too many, is to use a dust. And the dust is very effective because it's easy to use. You don't have to worry about mixing it up with water. And the new applicators they've got has a little puffer applicator. So when you take the top off, you could actually, if you can see, you can actually squeeze it and it will puff the dust out. You can see that dust coming out. And we can just like lightly dust the corn silks, like we've got some right here. You can just use that puffer duster and you can just dust the silks like that. Doesn't take a whole lot of dust. Very effective insecticide on all kinds of insects that will be damaging your crops. And the great thing about this, it works on squash bugs. Squash bugs, very difficult to control, and with that puffer applicator you can dust up underneath the leaves of the squashes as well as use it on your corn earworms right on the silk. So got a bunch of different options you can use to try and control corn earworms and a lot of other insects in your garden if you use them at the right time and use them according to label and directions, and you'll be very effective at getting those insects under control.